Sup, creeps, and welcome to Creepy Confidential After Dark. Now, this, if you notice, we are back to our regular scheduled programming here at Creepy Confidential After Dark. So this is our time to relax, introduce some guests, kind of in the fringe and fortean world, and give us a chance to let down the veil and talk with our guests about the real world of weird. So that's what brings us here tonight. Tonight, I want to give a huge thank you to the Creep Nation for tuning in. Tonight welcomes our special guest, Those Dweebs. We always manage to be chatting with each other in other people's chats. So we're here tonight to talk about Creepy Confidential and what we're up to in the current world of weird. Now, Those Dweebs are a group of friends who roll the D20 of Fate and enjoy many subjects, including subjects of the fortean variety. Their recent work in the paranormal is what caught our eye, and I'm looking forward to a great conversation tonight. Their recent collaborations on investigations and how they got interested in the field is on the docket of conversation. Questions will be answered and highlighted. You'll see them flying in the comment section during the show. So feel free to speak up, ask a question, or just chat with your fellow creepy confidants. Very important. Share with the class. Now, before I get going, I want to remind our listeners to please like and subscribe to our YouTube and social media accounts, both us and Those Dweebs, so that you don't miss out on creepy content, giveaways, or announcements. Creepy Confidential is adding a few extra shows and segments to help make Creepy Confidential your one-stop shop for all creepy content. You're going to visit creepyconfidential.com and become part of the Creep Nation today. All right, creeps, on to the show. Sup, creeps, and welcome to Creepy Confidential. Is Mothman really a supernatural force predicting impending doom? Did Apollo 11 really land on the moon in 1969? Did you find out if that was a cult that was living just 2 doors down that you waved to every single day when you got your mail? If these are the things you ponder when you should be sleeping, then I would like to welcome you to Creepy Confidential. I'm your host, Noelle, your resident weirdo Wisconsinite. I open case files on my favorite cryptids, cults, conspiracies, and other worldly creepy, with new cases, live broadcasts, and local lore. Some stories have been lost with time. Others are perhaps still happening today in your local communities, right up under your very creepy noses. So get ready, creeps. It's Creepy Confidential. Sup, creeps.
Hello.
Welcome officially, Those Dweebs. Welcome.
Welcome.
So just to bring everybody up to speed, yes, I sound like a drag queen tonight. I am working very hard to make this sound go away. If you see me mute or pop a lozenge, just ignore me, okay?
I'm just glad you're on the mend.
Right? I am here.
I'm alive.
I am very excited to finally like meet you in person. For everybody watching, we tend to we collectively tune into other paranormal channels, ones that I know, they know, we know collectively that they've worked with, and we have never had a chance to actually say, let's get together and let's have a chat. So yeah. I'm very excited.
I'm so excited.
But before we go into that, how about you guys introduce yourselves? Tell us who you are.
I'm Spencer.
I'm Julia.
I'm Michelle.
We are Those Dweebs, and we're a variety channel who does a little bit of everything for everyone. And yeah, we don't have
a specific
little thing.
That's okay. Jack of all trades.
Yeah.
Try to be at least.
What's that saying? Jack of all trades, master of none.
I feel that. Hence why the walls are just covered with all kinds of things. There's not one thing that I'm crazy I mean, I'm crazy about creepy things, but
Right.
that goes without saying.
I mean, I feel like that's just like on par for the course of like everything, you know. That's
Yep. Now, in the creepy world, because I see that paranormal is part of your collective things that you like to do, is kind of with that world. Did you all get into it at the same time, or was it kind of one and then you collected them like Pokemon?
So, like, we've each had our experiences like before, but then like we started like this journey. The three of us started this journey all together, and then like it just kind of like escalated from there.
We adopted Ken.
We adopted our friend Ken, who couldn't be here tonight with us, into our group. So, yeah.
So it's like there was the initial like foundation, like starting point, and then we do kind of collect like Pokemon in a sense.
Yeah.
So double meaning.
It really is.
But I think there has to be a common ground. That's how, like, initially my group was Girls Investigating Ghosts in the Supernatural, and it was formed by myself and a fellow vet tech. We used to work 24-hour ER shift, and then on the nights, or when you're stressed out and you need something to talk about, or the nights where there's nothing going on, it comes into like, hey, do you like ghosts? And before you know it, turned out we were super passionate about it. And I was super nerdy about history of these haunted places, and that's how it starts. And then we started collecting another vet tech and another vet tech.
Are you all vet techs?
All of us except for the co-founder. Her husband was Coast Guard, and he was the only one. Philip was the only one that was a dude. And then later we collected my husband, who we also worked with at the vet clinic.
That's so crazy.
We all at one point came from the same spot, but joined for different reasons. So I totally get that.
Yeah, ours was just like, we were just like, oh look, somewhere close to us is having a like group investigation. Why not try it out? Because that was like a big part of like our channel, like it still is like trying new things that we've never done before. And so we're like, let's try it out, see what happens.
I like adventurous.
Yeah. There.
I think group public investigations are way too much chaos for me. Way too much chaos.
That's what we've come to find.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. There are way too many cooks in the kitchen that, I'm sorry, either are disrespectful or have no business being there.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's a joke, and you have no idea what you're messing with. So, I mean, we don't even really know what we're messing with.
Right.
Yeah.
We're just scientifically guessing. And they're in there, cussing and swearing at these things. So I was like, whew.
I'm calling everything a demon.
Yeah. Or an elemental. Hot take. If I hear that word one more time.
One more again.
One more. Everything is a bleeping elemental. I'm like, no. Do you even know what that word means? There's so many books that tell you that that's not at all what it means. But I digress.
You're like, here's my rant.
I've been doing it 20 years, not to age myself. But yeah, I'm no like crazy, theologian, but just putting it out there. I found that public investigations were quite challenging because you can't tell them to go home. So
yeah, it's fun to make friends and like meet people or like see people you haven't seen in a long time, but like they're exhausting.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's almost more exhausting just dealing with the public than it is like, what sort of entity am I dealing with?
Right.
And you can't really like investigate the way you want, like you really want to, when there's so many people doing so many different things there.
Yep. And you can't control the noise or who's whispering, crinkling, passing gas, burping, anything. You can't. Because in a group, when you're tight, you're like, hey man, sorry.
Yeah.
Or the other, my fellow co-founder, she would be sitting at the top of the steps, and sure enough, through the entire schoolhouse, what happened, because she had It's just she thought it was funny. It was like, you can't use any of that evidence. Thanks.
Thanks, friend.
Yeah, we just made a funny reel out of it, and it was great.
I mean, there's at least that
blooper reel.
Oh my gosh, I'll have to share that with you guys. So it's on like our. Now keep in mind, it was a long time ago, so the audio and video looks exactly like you would think it would a long time ago, and but it starts out with like a new way to investigate, but it's just the whole thing is us just messing around between. Talking about like, because a lot of paranormal investigating is 90% sitting around and 10% of cool things happening.
Right.
So the 90% when you're like, I don't want to sit here quiet for another hour talking about who would survive a horror movie, you'd be the first to go. You got the biggest boobs. Are you a virgin? I'm not a virgin. We're both gone. Like that kind of thing. So
all the stereotypes.
Oh yeah, all of them. And I was like, you're gonna scream and run up the steps, and we're gonna run out the front door.
Hey,
so you have to. I get it. You gotta kind of, it hasn't. Not every moment has to be so crazy, but me. Do you guys remember what your first public investigation was that you went to?
It was the after hours investigation for Ghostorama at the Pawpaw Playhouse. Formerly known as, but it was Lucky Wolf now.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard about Ghostorama, and I just haven't made it up there for that because I used to be West Coast. I used to live in Washington. I'm from Wisconsin, but I lived down West Coast for a long time. Real quick, Ghost Dog says fire elemental attacks. Roll for initiative.
Wait, 20. We should have some close.
Pull out some dice.
Dice.
Go to D&D Beyond.
No,
Did you?
No.
Sorry. Okay. Oh, I didn't unmute it fast enough. Sorry, you probably heard me cough. It's like they're gonna run the show. Sorry, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Well, have fun. Take her away. You'll be fine.
Hey.
Now, after that, you're like, hey, we're the new team. After your first investigation with that public investigation, did it like leave you because I feel that they're either like potato chips and you just can't stop, or something happens and you're like, I am never messing with that again. Clearly you're still here, but did it leave you like medium, or were you like fire when you left?
It was
pretty
was
much
like pure fire.
Yeah.
It's like a drug.
We all went, okay.
This is fun.
This was fun. And then like our second one, which was the next Ghostorama, which was at Eden Springs, which was at the House of David. Unfortunately, Michelle couldn't go to that one because she was off in Japan, which but that's when we adopted our friend Ken into the group, and then he got addicted to it, and then we just all like started investigating like together after that.
Yeah, that's kind of how it goes.
Yeah.
I love that. It's weird. I would say over the who knows how many teams I've talked with over the years, that's a pretty common consensus.
Yeah.
Like I've never come into somebody where they're like, I left and I from this investigation someone brought me and I was like, it's interesting. Usually after that it's like they want to read, they want to watch every show about it, they want the next location.
Yeah.
Like, they don't care.
That's sorry.
No, it's fine.
That's really how like my interest started, because I grew up watching Ghost Hunters, and then got hooked on the Ghost Adventure stuff, and then started watching like all the other creepy and like paranormal stuff, and was just like, I really want to do that. And then we finally had an opportunity to do so. And
yeah, I have this is a house that divides. Are you ready? Are you team Ghost Adventures or Ghost Hunters? Original Ghost Hunters, not the new crap, the old one.
So I unfortunately started watching Ghost Adventures first, and then I went back and watched the original Ghost Hunters, and I
was the opposite. Okay.
I kind of like Ghost Hunters a little more. I like Ghost Adventures for the humor side of things, but I don't take it seriously whatsoever.
Right. I
feel bad for Aaron.
It's
just for Aaron.
Just for this. Okay, Aaron girl. Okay. I could have pegged you for that. I wasn't gonna say anything. You don't strike me as a Zach girl. So I mean, I could be all wrong. You could be after like one of the audio chicks. We don't judge here. So okay, so you're more Ghost Adventures. What about you two?
I started with Ghost Hunters because I grew up watching all like the B horror movies and like all kinds of different horror, and then when we were able to get like network TV and that kind of thing, we ended up watching Ghost Hunters, and I got hooked. Like I was just like, this is cool. I've always believed in the paranormal. I've always kind of felt something is there. And then I was hanging out with a buddy one time when we were watching Ghost Adventures, and like I got hooked on that, and that was one of my paranormal things for a while. But like after a while, I kind of moved away from that, and then I think one of the most recent ones is Project Fear.
Oh, Project Fear.
Okay, heard of that one. So you kind of left the two original houses are Ghost Adventures crew and Ghost Hunters, but a little bit of different stuff.
Yeah.
Ghost Dog says Zach is a girl.
That's an insult to girls.
I like that. Kimmy says, greetings. I stand behind Team Ghost Adventures. All right, Kimmy, we know where your house lies. All right, we got one more. What do you think?
I would probably say Ghost Hunters was the one that I initially got hooked on.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of grew up with that one, just kind of like seeing it on TV, and it wasn't until like later, when I was a little bit older, that I saw the like Ghost Adventures,
which is crazy because they've been around.
Yeah,
pretty much the same time.
Right.
I mean, not the same time, but pretty much.
Yeah. I feel like it was more when I was getting into like young adulthood that I finally started watching adventures, but they're both kind of like two peas in a pod for me, but
yeah, they're both potatoes, just different kinds.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course I use potato as an analogy. I'm from Wisconsin, so
the potatoes.
Potatoes. Another one. This is actually another good one. By the way, Ghost Dog is Mr. Creep, just so everybody knows.
I was like, I was aware. I don't know.
He knows I talk about like I'm gonna have a show, so he tunes in. So Tennessee Wraith Chasers is another good one.
Oh,
but the lead singer, oh my gosh, I almost said the lead singer. Blame the cough syrup. Anyway, one of the lead guys, he always walks around with these like tank tops, but they're like girl yoga tank tops, where they scoop, so they like show up. Oh my gosh, I was like, you straight up went to Lane Bryant and bought those, because I know that cut. But he's always walking around with his muscles out. But they don't scream, they don't yell. They're like Southern, very chill. They pray before they talk about what they're going to do. They devise a plan. I do enjoy them, but the tank tops,
tank tops can't get behind.
Yeah, they drive me crazy. I have a fellow person I worked with, but paranormal, not a vet. Oh, she has a vet deck, but not from the same place. It's from here. She loves that dude. That's like her tank top. We just call him tank top. But I will say, initially we as a group, like our gigs group, it was Ghost Hunters all the way. The lighthouse that they went to, where the entity looks over the edge, and it was just the way that they went in, the way that they debunked everything. It was absolutely just we were all about that. Real quick, oh my gosh, Beth, you were in here. You're all the way from Australia. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you so much.
Very cool TikToker. I love her accent. Love her accent. Anyhoozle.
Australian accent is just
yeah. So that was what we were going for. And I remember they had like you could submit your video to Ghost Adventures or Ghost Hunters, and you could like win equipment and stuff. And it was weird we didn't win, but when they used the promo, a lot of my video that I made was part of it. And I'm like, I didn't get paid for that one. Okay, whatever. But I'm not bitter, right? Not bitter. And then Ghost Adventures, I know I went back and watched Ghost Adventures, and of course Zach's hooting and hollering at everything, and everything's a demon, everything's an elemental, everything is like. But Aaron, I will admit, Aaron always was like, I liked the way that he handled himself, but he was a total goober, and he was all over the place. And then you could, as soon as they all started to fight, I was like, if Zach yelled at me like this, I'd be the first person I ever hit. I've never hit anybody, but I'd start with that person right there. It's just the way that, yeah, like he seriously needs an attitude adjustment. But it's more for like the spectator. Like I knew if they were doing a special, I would get my little like root beer and popcorn ready, and just so I could watch the destinations and learn about the destinations. And then as soon as he started, oh, I'm scratched, I was like, it's your beating from your bejeweled sweater. Like, stop it. But we love them all. But every time the intro comes on, you have to say like when they repeat the whole thing, you have to do it. Every time. Even if you're not a big fan, you're like, yeah, we want answers. You just can't help it.
Have you seen TikTokers who like perfectly mimic Zach?
Oh, I love the ones that, it's like a chick that looks like me, but they like put the hair on and the like affliction shirt, and it's bejeweled jeans. It cracks me up. I love it. I live for that.
I do too.
I do like all the different, all these paranormal shows of they're the reason why you get started, because you're trapped usually in your little local box. You can go to the same 5-6 destinations, and then you have to start traveling.
Yeah.
So that was always fun. Now, can you remember the first time that you were on like your first private investigation?
The library in the Walljack?
Yes, yeah. That was it.
It's been a while, but the first time we ever did like a solo investigation, I mean the owners were there kind of watching over kind of what we were doing, but yeah, it was us plus Ken, and we kind of we were able to kind of conduct our own investigation for the first time without having a bunch of other people around us.
Right.
Yeah. Which is again a challenge. Yep.
It's also the first time we kind of like split our teams up a little bit with like boys and like the like girls like separately, and like seeing what like the differences were and whatnot.
And I think it's crazy because I understand that, because you would think it's not that big of a deal to split the team, but it is.
Oh yeah.
It really is.
Your courage is now split if something really crazy happens, which it has, and you can't like, if all of a sudden you almost use them to like, tell me how you're feeling. It's like a checklist, like, okay, this is how I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. And when you're by yourself, you have to like walk through and check all the boxes. I don't know if you guys ever, when we do our team, we try not to split up like individually, but we have. It's terrifying. Oh my god.
I'm like, I want to try it once, just to do it.
It's like one of our test goals for our next investigation, I think, that Julia wanted to do.
I'm like, I want to go at least once by myself.
I feel like maybe a little 15-minute portions of splitting up individually and seeing what we catch.
Yeah.
It's weird because you think, I thought I was like, okay, the girls are over here. We just need one person to go into this room or this area. And I'm a veteran, I'm a military veteran. And I was like, sure. Yeah. And the farther away I got and the closer I got into a room with no lights, I was like, oh, this is way worse.
It's like, no.
Tell me why I was ready to take a bullet or worse, but I don't want to walk in that dark room by myself.
You can see a bullet, you can't see the ghost.
I mean, I've been in a room filling with water before, and I was like, I think I'm more freaked out here. because then you get your eyes that start playing like games on you, because it's just that natural like attempt for your brain to try and make something out of blackness. And sure enough, you think you see something, smell something, hear something. Every little tick that a piece of wood can make in that wall scares the daylights out of you.
Yeah.
So, meanwhile, some ant in the wall is like, geez, calm down. You know, like,
Why are you screaming?
why are you screaming, lady? Yeah, pretty much.
Turn my computer on its wheel.
I don't think I've ever screamed, which is good. But I remember the first time, I don't know if this has ever happened to you yet. Usually it will eventually. The first time you get like touched on an investigation. And mine, like, it wasn't like a touch. It was, you know, like if you have, like, ladies, you have long hair, can't quite tell your hairstyle. But yeah, you got a little bit of wispies back here. So you have these little wispies. And it was as if someone took their hand and went like this and like smoothed my hair. Yeah, but I was kneeling on the ground and we had like a diode light that was responding, and all you hear is my voice go from asking questions to I think I'm getting like it was a slow in, but trying not to like scream.
Right.
And I'm too chubby to just get up and run that fast. So even at my thinnest, it takes a little bit to get moving. So yeah, I was have you guys ever had an interaction and an investigation where you were touched?
Yeah.
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 So so you all have? All three of you?
Yep.
Wow, we went like our whole team and only one of us ever happened. We were in all kinds of places. We need to go where you're going. Go across. Let's start. I want to hear each of you guys.
Our group is just like really like
Kind of attuned.
full of sensitive, like very sensitive individuals. Like I'm trying to remember mine, so like someone else go first.
So this one I had recently, and this one wasn't on an investigation. This was at my workplace. So ironically enough, both her and I have worked for a winery, and the winery I was in, my buddy Ken and I, we were moving some wine around, and I just walked past this doorway going up the stairs, and all of a sudden I just felt like same kind of thing, just this little trickle up my neck, and I was like, okay, that's weird. There was nobody behind us. There was just us in the back room, and I was just like, okay.
It's like you kind of freeze. Like it's, even if you're a tough individual, I think your brain is still like, so what do I do now?
Right.
It's weird. Oh my gosh. This comment. Hold on. It's hilarious. I mean, you know, it can happen.
We just laugh. We just go.
That's all we can do at this point. I mean, we're 2025. What? They're not even 2 months completely in, and look at it's just bananas.
Right.
Bananas. So the one that just comes up to my mind is like the very first investigation would be like
the public one, or the one that
one.
Okay.
We were just sitting downstairs, and like the like main area of the what is now the little cafe, and we were just sitting on the couch, and I just kept feeling like something like touching my like legs and everything, and like trying to let me know it was there, and I'm just sitting there going, okay, that's cool, that's fine. Someone else is talking.
Gave it permission. Not a good idea.
The one that sticks out in my brain, I think, is from our very last investigation at the poorhouse down the road. It was actually me, Trevor, and Spencer. We were all sitting in one of the rooms, I think on the 3rd or 4th floor.
If I remember correctly.
Third floor.
it was like this little, I don't remember what room it was, but it was like this little like lounge area. Kind of looked like it hadn't been touched since the 70s, but
was it the 50s room or was that the 60s room?
I think it was the 60s.
It might have been,
yeah. We had just walked in and, you know, kind of got set up. I sat down on the couch and, you know, I kind of had my ghost tube app open, which, if you don't know what ghost tube is, it's like an app that pulls frequencies out. It's kind of like a ghost box.
Yeah,
or
it's similar to
box.
Spirit Talker too. They're all kind of similar-ish.
Ish.
Have the same basic premise.
But I was sitting on the couch and we were just having a conversation kind of amongst ourselves. And we were hearing things from the ghost tube app here and there. And then all of a sudden I felt this cold touch kind of like slowly slide onto my right over the top of my knee and like just hold it there. And it just felt like there's a hand there. And I said, "Are you touching my leg right now?" And then on the ghost tube, it said, "Yep." I was like, "Okay, good to know."
They're like, and?
Yeah.
And I think now, do you guys tend to lean more skeptic, or are you like you believe first and later? Like some people are like, it is one. I just need to figure out how. And more people, there's kind of the other half is I'm a skeptic first and then I figure it out later.
I always kind of go in like with the like kind of like a mix between like the skeptic and the open-mindedness of it, and like some things I'm like, okay, there's got to be a way to like debunk this, and then I'm like, if it's debunkable, okay, but other times I'm like, okay, that was definitely, I don't know what the hell that was. And
that is definitely, I don't know. I think it's good to have a little bit of maybe one or the other in a group. So it's otherwise you just believe in everything or you don't believe in everything. So you kind of have to like, why are we here? It's like kind of one of those kind of things. Now you mentioned the recent investigation. Now you guys did that with What Goes Bump in the Night, and that was a recent collab together. And that can you guys talk a little bit about that? Now you mentioned the location, and that's close to you guys, right?
Yeah.
Your backyard.
Yep. It's just a backyard.
Pretty much like 5 minutes down the road. It was, I think, I can't remember, it was last year sometime.
It was in October.
Like right at the end there.
Yeah.
And
as close to Halloween as we could get.
Yeah.
'Tis the season.
Exactly. And as far as like the investigation goes, like we had gone for their grand reopening because I believe about 5 years ago.
3 years. It's gonna be 3 years this year.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay. There was I want to say a mini tornado that rolled through here, but they also ruled it as straight line winds. I can't remember 100%.
It was a tornado. Like there's no way.
It completely destroyed the roof. They had to do like I think at least a year or two of rebuilding.
Yeah.
And it was all about collecting the funding, getting people in the community to help, donate and that kind of thing. And when we went for the grand reopening, it was pretty much an open house. We could go through and, see all the different rooms. And when we did that, you could still feel something there. So when we finally went back in October, it was the energy was palpable. Like it was almost like they were expecting us.
Well, and their whole house was rocked.
Yeah.
And if it is a conscious entity of some kind that's or entities that are there, I mean, usually you do construction and you make activity go up, let alone a tornado coming through. So makes sense.
Yeah, it was honestly definitely one of my favorite investigations, just because like getting to like go and like see all like the different rooms of that place, and like every room had a different energy about it, and like just getting to see like all the different things that could happen, because What Goes Bump has their video out. We still have to edit ours. Our editing is just chaos right now. But no, like What Goes Bump has theirs, but Michelle and I did a dual Estes method in one of the classroom they have there. But like we had like so many like military-esque type things coming through, and like it was just probably the craziest Estes like we've done to date.
Yeah, it was strange. Just hearing the when I watched the Estes back, it was one of those things that like you can remember some of what you said when you were under, but then once you watch it back through, like everything just lines up.
Mm-hmm.
So perfectly.
Well, when you're in it, you're so focused on trying to catch a word.
Yeah.
Like you're like, did I, okay, because it's just flying by, especially, or if you hear it like over many, frequency, then your brain's just happy that you heard something. But it's so sure, that makes sense. I mean, you're too busy trying to, okay, there's a word.
Yeah.
I've tried that a couple times, and I don't know if it's just the noise that my brain melts down. And I haven't heard the words, but if I get like my old school Radio Shack hack out, I don't know if you guys know what that is, but used to modify these old Radio Shack so that they just go. And every now and then on those, I'll hear something that's weird that is not a radio. It sounds, and it's has to do with what you're saying, or what you're asking. But those Estes, kudos to you guys who can actually hear those words.
It's hard sometimes. It's like I can't tell you how many times like I've heard voices, but I couldn't make out what they said. And so like you're not able to actually like say everything you hear. So
it's almost
it's challenging.
It's almost as if you have to kind of like hone in on like what's coming through and like decipher what's gobbledygook that you can't really understand, or say what's like actually audible. And what's actually audible is like you say it because you hear it, but you don't know what they're asking on the outside. That doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah, that's typically like the coming out of it question of like, did that make any sense? Like, I remember when we went to the Felt Mansion, like we did the Estes there, I think for like the second attempt, but the first official, like we had the little S box and like had the headphones and everything, and they were actually good headphones, so you couldn't hear everyone's questions. And like I had it all the way up, and like the voices, it was like mostly men's coming through, but it was so quiet. Like they didn't want to speak to a woman.
Yeah,
and
that can happen.
Yeah.
We found that at the Masons. We had the privilege of being told we could come to a Masons lodge, and everything was out. They had their altar in the center of their room, and they left everything out. And we found in the main area where they would have their I don't know what it's called, like when the men would do their meeting. Once we left and we left the men up there, it would talk. When the women would come in the room, we'd either get some sort of nasty comment from a woman's voice or nothing. Like we did not belong in there. That is the men's room, because that's a men only. Like they have the separate thing. That's the kids and the women. But yeah, some places it could just be that was either a place in time where women weren't allowed more freely like they are now, or it was somebody's room who maybe didn't like women.
Yeah, no, like right after that, like we had like our friend Ken go under, and like they were talking to him just fine. I went, this is what we're doing. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming.
She's out.
She's out.
I find those behaviors very interesting in the paranormal world, because when they're not supposed to adhere to rules, or still have either their aversion to speaking to women or aversion to speaking to men, and yet they still seem to sometimes keep that rule about them. So that's I like things like that. I want to be better with the Estes method, but it's the noise and the shouting. Yep. I'm a quiet person.
I just keep practicing, honestly. Like,
yeah,
that's like our
hear it
to do on like out of everything.
It's like those drawings that were like 3D with all the gobbledygook, and then you would move them away, and all of a sudden you'd see like a unicorn. Like you feel like you have to like let your brain drop so that you can actually hear what is not or is coming through. It's I can't. My science nuke brain is like that's not the word.
No.
Yes, I have such a hard time with it. That's okay. Yeah, I'm excited. The last investigation was at Post-Town Elementary, and that was a while ago. That was with just Trevor. Riley was off gallivanting somewhere on vacation, I think. And that was a public investigation, and it was very chaotic, and there were other teams there behaving in a manner that were unbecoming of a public team.
Right.
Like, so I was like, that's wow. Like, I was not the people that were hosting it. POV, they're awesome. I really liked them. At least the ones that I had interactions with, great people. It was some of, it's always the people that you invite, that seem to be like, oh, come on. But that place was hopping. Oh my gosh. I stayed way later.
So crazy.
Now, aside from the paranormal, I know, getting the paranormal, we can just talk about paranormal forever. But you guys have dweebs in your name, and I cannot go without asking you about this. Tell me about the D20 that is in your logo. Please tell me that you guys play D&D.
We do.
We do.
Okay. Otherwise, you're frauds. And
frauds.
Yes, I have a whole, my bag of dice is right. Well, it was over there. Yeah, it's over there.
Ours was in there though.
And I have one still in its little container that I haven't cracked just yet. It's crisp. So with that, for the other nerds that may be out there watching, of a character or class, I guess maybe your favorite one. I know originally I said alive, but what is your favorite class to play and race to play, or both at the same time?
You go first.
So right now, so I have a group of friends that we get together and down in Michigan City, in Indiana, and we play. We've been playing this campaign for like going on 2 years now, but I play this this character. She is a cleric, Azumar. And yeah, she's your favorite. She's my favorite right now.
She's your favorite. I love it.
Yeah, she's a moonlight cleric who is afraid of the dark.
I love that.
And has sleep paralysis, but yeah, it's fun.
Were those chosen traits, or was that put on you via P?
Those were chosen traits.
Okay, I love it even more then. But sometimes you just get a hand that's dealt with you, and you just can't shake that snot off your shoe.
It's one of those like kind of fusing two of my loves for like the paranormal and D&D, kind of rolling with it.
Yeah, I love it. All right, what about you?
My go-to class is typically a rogue. Like I always gravitate towards the rogue, but I have to say, like, one of my favorite characters was I played a half elf who started as a rogue, but then like became a dual class of a warlock barbarian.
Wow.
And like I always make my characters short. Like
let me just Shake it out. That's what I'll be.
You'll be as short as I am, but you're gonna be a badass.
Right?
We're gonna make it cool.
Yes. Definitely one of my favorite.
I think that's the theme of D&D. Make it cool.
Yeah.
So I usually gravitate towards like any of like the magic types of classes, like spellcaster or wizard or that kind of thing. My very first character, I think I started as a wizard and then ended up multi-classing a couple of times and then finally landed on Artificer. And it was pretty cool because I always like my normal brain, I'm very creative and I like to tinker with things. So I pretty much formed that into my character. But a lot of times I really just like using magic for my characters, and I like to I have I've noticed this about my characters. I have a hero complex.
At least you've dissected the psyche on that one.
Yeah, at least
it's like my character always tries to do like the heroic or really cool thing, and then my dice just fail me, and I just
every time. And you always
that's like part of the character. Then they want to be a hero, but they just are Rick Moranis. You're Rick Moranis, basically.
Yeah.
You can't argue with the role.
no.
Yeah, you can't.
You can. Put
man, I love that.
Yeah.
See, and I am not a life D&Der. I actually, as I am very analytical. I know that you guys don't know me a long time, but probably in the short time, it has to make sense.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to creativity, this is huge that I was able to do this and write stories, and this is probably because I started doing D&D. It kind of like got the juices flowing.
Right.
You know, you're sitting around and you're playing, and you can't just be like, you roll the dice and you're like, okay, I take 4 steps. You're supposed to be like, my character, you know, Corvina walks in and she sees in the midnight, you're supposed to tell this story.
Yeah.
And at first I was very like robotic, and my husband is very creative. He is the English, like, right kind of person, and he's a graphic designer, everything, you know, like that's his side of the brain. Mm-hmm. I'm like, you give me nuke equations all day long, I got you, boo. So it was complicated, but I found that I stuck to, I loved druids, and I liked the fact that I created a character that was like a half elf, like wood elf character, but I loved the druid thing, and I liked that I could build this story and character, and before you know it, I had created this whole little being. And it's like, but you do develop things over time that you've put into your character that's actually part of you. Mm-hmm. So I have, like, my eyes are always watering, side note, but it will make sense. My eyes water a lot, so I usually have like tissues crammed in various places, like an 85-year-old Mima. And we got into this scenario with my character, and it turns out that the whole entity that you were walking through and in and around was a mimic. So you would like touch something and you were, you know, up Poops Creek. So I created in my story that I would carry around a bag of handkerchiefs, so that I could, every time there was a doorknob handle, I would pick it out and check it. Pick it out and check it. And I was like, so I gave my character OCD as well.
That's perfect.
Which also makes sense, because I think I do have OCD. Mild, very mild. So I have this like character that I had made over the years, and then I was like very quiet about it, and I learned that I liked when you could roll and things crazy would happen. Like lightning. Oh my god, I would like roll it and they're like, you can do this, this, and this, and I rain down lightning, and my husband says, you like walk up and you're like thanks, I like to play, and walk away.
Lightning.
I just fell in love with it.
I love that.
Lightning's probably one of my favorite spells.
Yeah, I learned that I liked it. It was one of my like favorite, probably one of my favorite things. And the little like wild shape, you could just like, you know, make things happen.
I like setting things on fire.
Yeah.
I really enjoy the moonbeam spell.
Yeah.
Just radiant moonbeam damage. It's just, and it's like broken.
Broke. But then you end up like you hold, you're like, I like that one. That's the one.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you realize that you either can't use it for whatever reason or whoever, you haven't rested or whatever. And you're like, dang it, we need to sleep.
Lightning when your party's in the water.
To be fair, we were in trouble when you weren't supposed to be attacked.
Yeah.
So since we're on Nerd Talk, because this is my channel and we talk about whatever we want, another question. Okay, who plays Baldur's Gate 3? 2 out of 3 ain't bad. All right. How are you guys feeling about it?
I love it. We still haven't finished the storyline yet because I'm notoriously really bad about playing video games.
You'll get like super addicted to it for a while and then just stop.
I have ADHD. My brain don't work like that. I can sit down and read a book for hours and hours and hours. Video games, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go really hard and then I'm done. I won't touch this for 6 months.
I'm really starting to question what's going on in my life when people say things like that, because that's how I do it.
What does this mean about us?
I have OCD, which my husband says mild, LOL, whatever. And I do the same. I'm like, gas. Ugh.
Yeah. So I'm really bad. I'm really bad at that.
Personally, I game hop a lot, so like I'll be invested in I'll either be invested in one storyline of a game, or I'll jump from game to game to game.
Yeah, it's like you just can't. It's like Goldilocks.
Yeah,
I call it Goldilocks of games.
Just not this one.
And just to make sure we really round out everything that you guys do, so you guys also cover some other things on your platform. By the way, I haven't mentioned it up until now because we've been talking. All the information for Those Dweebs is down below, so you guys can check out all their videos on all the different things that they do. We were here primarily for the creepy things, but we also have other things in common, which is great. So you guys do some what is it called? Unboxing videos. Do you guys have where you go to watch things, talk about things? Tell us a little bit about that little part of what you do. Well, no, you're not little. That part of what you do.
So, like you said, we have the unboxings. We go and try new foods, or we do the fun little challenges. We do cosplay.
Yeah.
We do mermaiding.
General vlogging.
Travel vlogging.
Yeah.
I love you guys. All parts of life.
Yes. So typically if we're hitting a new place, we try to do a little bit of vlogging if possible, and ooh, you should try this place.
Capture and tell people and
yeah.
But you. I need to get better about that.
We still have even after doing it for as long as we still have film anxiety. Because I'm
always I just want to drink my iced coffee. Leave me alone. Meanwhile, my hubby's you have a channel and you probably should do something with it. My episode comes out in a week. Leave me alone.
Yeah, it's typically especially if we're doing trying videos here, it ends up being just Michelle and I, because he's I'm too tired, just go ahead, I'll try it afterwards. I'm but
that's not
Part of the team.
I'm also not a big part of going out and peopling. I'm trying to do better about it, but I'm kind of more, I don't know.
People are peopling. Yeah.
I'm the extrovert of the group, so
That's why you're a rogue.
I'm the face. No, that no clue. I was voluntold. But yeah, I do a lot of the peopling, all the time on especially in what goes bump. If you see Those Dweebs, it's me. It's me. I'm there.
I mean, I'm also there. I'm just silent.
You just lurk.
I lurk.
Lurk.
Yes.
I love that. I will say that too. I think I never realized just how much I watched other people's channels until I started running into you at like every place I went. I was like, oh, Dweebs is here. Oh yeah, Dweebs is here. Yeah, you know, between like I'm gonna name drop for a second. Either like Ghost Bros or What Goes Bump or who's the guy with the mustache?
Mustache Tommy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tommy.
You know, I don't watch all of his stuff all the time, but I love his production.
Oh my god, production is just insane.
Yeah, I mean, it's just somebody, you know, it's like you don't know them until you meet them. So there's that. And I was like, but every time we're I'm like, oh, here they are. It's like constantly running into each other out in town. It's great. Yeah, where the people don't always do that.
Yeah.
I have, I'm trying to make sure that I have everything else did I ask you about everything? I feel like I'm forgetting about something.
I was like, we didn't talk about, I think the only things like paranormal, like / creepy, we didn't talk about cryptids and we didn't talk about aliens.
Yeah. I'm kind of alien burnt out, but I did have a question. I'm glad you did remind me. That's why. Because it's like, you know how you like research a subject crazy and you're like, I don't want to look. It's like eating too many chocolate chip cookies and then you're like, I need a little break on chocolate chip cookies. I'm going to throw up. But that now with aliens, do you guys, I haven't seen any alien like content with you guys. Do you cover, not that I haven't deep dove, not that doesn't exist. I would think that you're a believer if you're in this fortean world. But what's your, like, are you more of like I think I'll look for them, or are you one of those like crazy deep divers, you know, all the backlog of
So I would say
tinfoil hatting?
Quite there yet, but
I need to send you some Reynolds tinfoil. Okay.
I've always kind of believed, even since I was young, and there's been times where, like, you know, I'll be looking up at the sky and I will see something that, you know, I often debunk it. It's not a plane. It's not, you know, stars or anything like that.
Right. Satellite.
What that?
There was one time I was walking back from my cousin's house, just walking kind of down the driveway, and I spotted something in the sky, and it, like, I kind of fixated on it. I was like, all right, you know, maybe it's a bright star or something. And then it whipped like this way and then whipped back. And then it looked like it was heading for me. So I booked it down the driveway because it really freaked me out, because I was like, there's no way. Like, what is that? And then it just started like zipping like super close to where I was at. And I just booked it towards the house.
Oh my gosh.
It was
like, was it like yay or like
it was almost like a little orb. So, like, you know how if you look up into the sky and like one of the planets are shining, or like it's a really bright star, it looked like that, but it was shining super bright and it seemed to emanate like brighter as it was moving.
And it was coming for you?
Yeah. It was like zipping.
Oh no.
And like even before that, I've always kind of believed in it, but like that like really kind of solidified it, and I was just like, there's no way that wasn't, you know, it was something unexplainable. So I was like, okay, maybe that was a UFO.
Right. Oh my gosh, I don't know why it just popped into my head, but not to quote Zach Bagans, but you never believed in one until you came face to face with one. Yeah,
exactly.
So for me,
that's a wild one.
Yeah. I have never had the opportunity to.
I was like, top that.
I've never seen a UFO. I believe in aliens. I know they exist because I know a lot of people that I've interacted with have had experiences. But I've just never had an experience. Also, I typically don't spend my time outside.
Yeah, you're more of an inside girly.
And when I am outside, it's like I'm not looking up at the sky. I always miss the cool like things that happen in the sky sometimes because I'm just like looking
zoning out. Yeah.
But yeah, like I believe in them. I haven't seen them, but I'm like, the universe is too big for there not to be aliens.
Right? I think that is so valid. I think to think that the human race is the only one is very naive.
Yeah.
You know, no matter the who, what, when, where, whys of your beliefs, just the fact of we are these only meat suit, beings that, I think that it's kind of naive to think that we're the only ones in our universe. The universe is universe. All that. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. It scares me to think that they'll just take you out of the sky and, do things. Or chase you down a driveway.
For me, I've always believed since I was like in the 6th grade. There was an incident. It was me, my sister, and my mom. We were kind of sitting at the end of the driveway, waiting for the school bus. It was like 5:30 in the morning.
You were waiting for the school bus at 5:30 in the morning?
Yeah. My school was like half an hour away from me, so
I thought I went to school early.
Really.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that shocked me.
It's my childhood.
Wow.
But we were sitting there waiting for the bus, and across the street was just like kind of like a forested area, and in the distance we saw something like slowly rise up from the trees, and we were all kind of just like, do you see that? Like, what is that? And we're like, I don't know. And then it like zipped down the street very quickly, and then I hate telling the story because nobody ever believes me, but
you're in the right spot, hon. You're on a channel called Creepy Confidential, and I just put the alien ship up for you. Here, I'll even make the word smaller. Alien ship.
Alien ship.
But so it zips down the street. It's got like 3 lights on it. It's like this red, white, and blue lights, and they were kind of just like they were like a consistent like light until it zipped back down the street, and it got like kind of right next to the car and was just flashing all these crazy lights at us, and me and my sister were yelling at my mom like, drive, go and my mom was so scared. She was petrified, and like I had never seen her freeze up like that before. And then there was another car that was like pulled out of another driveway down the road, and it very quickly just zoomed back up into the sky.
Like just to intimidate you?
I have no idea. It's one of those like you think it's a fever dream.
Right.
But when all 3 of you still remember that this happened, it's kind of solidates that, okay, well, I wasn't just half asleep.
You're like, it could be that I'm, like, this is what I would say, but like, it could be that I'm nuts. I'm certifiable and medicated, so maybe it's me. But the fact that everybody would see it, then yeah, that's wild. Don't worry, everybody. I'm not on that kind of. Don't worry. I mean, I am medicated, but aren't we all? It's 2025. So. Did you see any beings or just the craft?
So we didn't see any beings. It was just
like, was there anybody hanging out the passenger side on their best friend's ride? Or like, no?
Any like we didn't see any beings. It was just the craft itself was it was just this like black, like I don't even know what it was made out of, but it was just this like sleek black material.
Bless you.
I don't really remember seeing any windows, but also they were flashing a bunch of lights in my eyes. So
that is crazy, you know. And I think, you know, I think of people like Woody, that had like the whole oh my gosh, Indrid Cold, you know, situation where he's just driving down the road in his van, and this whole craft just like right in front. The homie just gets out and starts walking up to the van, you know. But so it's, you get to, you know, people are, they'll say whatever, you know, I don't believe you, you're nuts, yada yada yada. Like, hey, if in your mind you think it happened, no one can take that away. So that's wild. You need to write a book.
Yeah,
so then I can add it to my collection and you can autograph it. I'm just saying.
We are writers.
We are writers.
Well, then you have zero excuses.
I'm working on it.
I do math, and yet somehow I write things. Maybe I'll be able to figure out how to do a book. You're literal authors? Yeah.
Gotta get it done. 2025.
Yes.
I did go to school.
New year, new abduction. Let's go. Maybe they'll bring it back. Those are, but because most people, it's weird because you'll see stories about they either see an entity, a creature. I'll call it a creature, an alien, or they see the craft. But it's usually they don't see both.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's more rare. It does happen, but it's like they either see these little crafts with things like Betty and Barney, you know, that kind of thing, like they both reflect and remember the same craft with the same shape, and they both remember these little creatures inside of this craft. So usually you just see a flying light of whatever, you know, a little spaceship like this one, something like that. So that's wild, man. I don't even want to tell mine.
Tell yours.
No, mine was just a craft, and I've only ever seen one, and I was really young. It was in Paris, Texas. You know those water towers you see in these small towns?
Yeah.
So I was probably, I could have been like 4th grade. No older than that, because after then we would have left that area. And Mom was probably driving me to the park or something like that, and we came around the corner, driving down the road, and you could see the water tower, and next to the water tower, this shape actually, was this little thing just like hanging out but sideways, and then at the same time, like we both looked and it just went boom, like blink of an eye, and it was gone. And Mom looked at me and I looked at her, because I'm like, even then I was like, I'm a nerdy kid. I was like, did I just see that? Because what did you put in my food? Yeah, like, I was trying, all the cylinders were firing. And she looked at me and we both just kind of went, yeah, that didn't make sense. And then it was gone. Right, like had the Paris, Texas, I remember, and that little ship just went, took off. I mean, there's no crafts that we have then or now that would just be hanging out in a random water tower in Paris, Texas, and be able to take off that fast.
Right.
No. Yeah.
So that was, I haven't, other than seeing floating lights in the sky, which now that I know, I mean, they could be satellites, but that's wild. And aliens, I don't know, it seemed like they belong in Texas, because it's such open, it's like vast, you know, like they're just spaces for them to do anything. Lots of cows, you know, they decide they need to do their cow thing. Where were you when you saw the ship that chased you guys?
So for me,
either one of you, I guess.
I'm out of this one.
2 out of 3.
For me, just where we're from, just Michigan, just kind of, I was
country.
There's a lot in Michigan.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like the unspoken secondary UFO capital. There's a lot up there.
Yeah.
You see a lot of weird crafts flying of different shapes, and you read through the docket that they have. I don't remember what the website's called, but it's where they keep track of all the different sightings and shapes and everything. And there's a lot in Michigan.
Yeah. Michigan weird.
It could be there's a lot of water around it.
Yeah.
And if we have Leslie and Stephen Shaw, I don't know if you've followed up on them recently or listened to what they say. They're kind of that could potentially live underwater, that they've been there the whole time. That kind of their cousins. They call them their cousins. But I mean, good luck living in Lake Michigan. That thing's a beast of an ocean.
Yeah. It's like
it's our mini ocean.
It is our mini ocean. It's like between like the Great Lakes and then like Michigan has so many like inland lakes that you can barely even like go to a town without hitting like 3 or 4.
Yeah, Wisconsin's kind of like that too. There's so many lakes, puddles, ponds everywhere you look. Everyone has a boat. Like you don't even have to be a millionaire to have a boat, even if it's just a John boat.
Yep.
Everybody has a boat. You can either fish off of it, jump off it, something. Seems like there's always a place that you can put a boat in.
Yeah.
That is wild. Because I forget you guys are also up there. You guys are Michiganders too, right? All of you. Yeah. Well, yeah, you all live in the same spot, in the same house.
I mean, I technically live in Indiana now. But I grew up here in Michigan. I've only been in Indiana for like 6 years. No, not good enough.
That's a long time. When you say only been, that's like only been here for 6 months. Anything greater than a couple of years.
You've been there for a little while.
I mean, I cross the border a lot to come up here.
Yeah, it's almost like
these guys and my family's up here, so
that's awesome. Well, I had to ask. I forgot about the aliens. See, I knew we were going to go over. Just so everybody knows, I do try and stick to 45 minutes, but it's not true.
Oh wow, it's been an
that
hour?
Must be a lie. Now, have you guys ever come in contact with a cryptid? This is my last weird question. Come in contact with a cryptid, like you've seen one, you think you've seen one, heard one, and do you have a favorite cryptid that you're just like, I cannot help read about it?
So, do you want to go first?
No, go ahead.
This sounds intense.
So, like, first off, my favorite cryptid is Nessie because you're
in a good spot because there's one up there.
Yeah, there's Nessie in Michigan. Well, not in one of the lakes.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Erie. Sounds right. But I don't think I've seen what cryptid, but I remember at Eden Springs Ghostorama, we were out like on like this big cement pad, and like everyone had kind of split up and then kind of come back together. And this is the first investigation where I actually got to meet Trevor and Jenna, and like Jenna was gonna like walk a little ways away, and see what happens. She's like, but I don't want to go alone. And I was like, I'll go with you. I'm like, I just met you, but this is fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
So we started walking away, and I remember like after we got back, we kind of went over everything, and one of the devices had picked up, we control the animals.
I've seen that on that before. Was that on Spirit Talker?
Yeah.
Well, now we know it's on there.
And then, but like when we had walked out there, like Jenna and I were, just kind of like talking, like da da da, and we just hear like this inhuman screech from somewhere out in the woods, and we both stopped and we went, nope. Turned, walked back to the group. We're like, nope, not today. And then, as we were walking back to kind of like change the area that we were going in, we actually saw like in the middle of nowhere, like, it can happen, but like we saw a little like crawdad randomly like on the cement pad. No water was around.
Usually they're in the mud, the muck,
a ditch, like
yeah.
But like there was nothing, and like having gotten like the we control the animals, and then one was there, and there was a weird scream. I was like, yeah, something was out there. Don't know why, but just want to go outside at night. Fine.
You're like, no.
So for me, I don't know if I necessarily have like a favorite cryptid. I like the Mothman. He's pretty cool.
He's a fan favorite. Everyone loves Mothman. Yep.
I haven't necessarily had any like experiences with any cryptids. I mean, unless you count like, so where I grew up, we used to see these like weird looking, like really weird shaped paw prints in the snow, kind of going around our house and out back to the fields behind us. But and it was always one of those things that like we couldn't really identify what kind of footprints they were because they just looked so strange. It was like every single winter growing up there that like we would just find these weird footprints.
Weird.
Yeah, and it always kind of like really freaked us out because it would like go up kind of around, like all the way around the house pretty much, kind of close to our windows and you know, entryways and stuff like that. So yeah, it was just one of those freaky things. But yeah, that's about it for me.
Yeah, window creepers. You're not.
No. For me, for favorite, it has to be a tie between Mothman and Bigfoot.
Those are both fan favorites. I love it. I hear those a lot. Yeah. I mean, same. Yep.
As far as like any real experience seeing one, back where I used to live, we lived in like, you know, kind of country and everything like that, and we had trails around our house. I never really saw anything, but like just walking on the trails at night, it's a different experience than walking throughout the day, because like you're walking with no light and everything like that, and you just hear, you know, random screeches or, you know, things that, you know, kind of startle you. And there was one night where I was walking along and I just heard like these very low growls, and I was just like, nope.
And even if it's not a cryptid, there are so many creatures that can mimic and skew their voice. And those creatures are usually ones that can hurt you anyway. So you probably shouldn't be out there.
Michigan gets a lot of mountain lions.
Oh, they cry like babies.
Yeah.
Ooh. It's always creepy. In my opinion.
No, it's creepy.
Yeah, because it makes your, even I think that some people are like, well, you have to be maybe a mother to a certain cry that would bother you. Like, no, you don't. That's our spidey sense saying something's dying and or sick or injured, and I don't like it.
like that.
Yeah, something's wrong. Fix it or run away or something. I don't know. Yeah, those are. They had lots of mountain lion, like not cougars. Yeah, in Texas, there were those. They have all kinds of like big cats there, and those ones would mess with people because they knew that you would come out, like kids would come out. Not a, oh yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, I think that sometimes those are more creepy, knowing that a non, wild created animal can cryptid, something from a cryptozoology encyclopedia, that it's a real thing that's creating something. Not that cryptids aren't real, because I think some are, but yeah, I love it.
It's wild.
We have Frogman here. The Loveland Frog is here in Ohio. The festival's this weekend. They have a whole festival for him, and I think that one's super popular. But when you read the lore, you're like, well, it changes so many times, and then you find out the depiction of what it really looks like isn't anything like the original drawing that was done in like a police drawing. like the real police drawing where they're holding the batons and everything. Like that one's way scarier than this like bubbly frog that you have with a wizard hat. Like, like how did we get here?
That's like just randomly, like when we were going down to like one of the Ghostoramas that was in Indiana, it was at the Bell Mansion. We just like passed through this town, and like I just like happened to like actually pay attention to my surroundings. That happens occasionally. What? And I see like on the side of the building, Beast of Busco, and I'm like,
that's a popular one.
I'm like, what the hell is that?
I just learned about that.
Went on this whole like thing, and I was like, okay, yep, this is fun. This is a random town in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
We also
and it usually starts from one sighting from a time where they didn't have like drawings of it, and then it just kept going, and then it's morphed into what we have now.
Yeah.
But the original story is usually quite creepy. Like the original story of the Jersey Devil is terrifying.
Yeah.
You know, not that it's just some morphed creature, yada yada. Like the actual story about the 13th child and cursed and yada yada. I'm like, that is way scarier. Way worse. Yeah, I have. I am also a Mothman fan. That was the very first cryptid that I ever. That was the very first episode that I ever did. Was my dive into the Mothman, the lore and original story of the Scarberries that were chased in their 57 Chevy, and yeah, it's wild. But you go down. Have you ever had a chance to go down to Point Pleasant? It is a small little town. It only comes alive for Mothman Festival, I swear. And it's packed now. And they have, when you take a drive to where the Mothman originate, like the whole story originated, there's a energy plant that has like the cooling towers and everything with like smoke coming out the top. Well, steam coming out the top. And the woods are, I swear you look in there in the daylight and you're like, there's creatures staring back at me right now. This is the middle of the day. But it's West Virginia. It just has that like wild feel.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a power plant across the street. You got the TNT area that has all the sort of poisons and toxins that leached out of the ground. And then you have a random Mothman. I mean, that's like comic book stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like Spider-Man. You know, you put the dude with the spider venom and voila, you have Spider-Man. Like, of course he's Mothman.
Of course he is.
Of course. The other ones don't make sense. Mothman makes sense.
Makes
absolutely.
Sense.
At least I think Mothman makes sense. Braxy's another cool one, another West Virginia one. I think she's probably my favorite. Why? I think they call Braxy a she, but that's a they think that Braxy is an alien. So that's
I could see it just like from like the like all the like pictures and everything. I'm like, I could see that being an alien.
Because it was like an alien craft that smashed to the ground. She came out of it and it's not like a fleshy creature. It was like a metal suit with the red cowl, and yeah. Another same area though. You drive out to where this spaceship may or may not have crashed into the ground, and you're like, well, yeah, of course there's aliens out here.
Of course there is.
Of course, there's military bunkers there, and there. You know, come on, it's one of those kind of things,
right?
Well, I am so glad that you guys shared those. I think cryptids, of course, is something you can always dive into. But I just find it interesting, kind of either what's your favorite or one that pops into your head. And that's by far, Mothman is number one or number two. Bigfoot is usually number one or number two.
I just have to be different.
And hey, that's cool too, because a lot of people are like, they either don't know other cryptids exist. And then like the hodag, I hear about the hodag a lot from Wisconsin, which I have not made it up to Rhinelander yet. I'm born and raised there, and I've never made it up to Rhinelander. Been in northern Wisconsin though. Well, I thank you so much for joining. You know, this whole crazy journey we've been on. We have covered a little bit of everything. I absolutely love that. Do you guys have anything you want to give a shout out about? Something coming up? You know, we always want to make sure that you have that moment to to tell us about what you have going on?
Eventually we will have like all of our investigation videos edited and out into the world of YouTube.
Hoping sometime in the next couple months here. It's all about setting up a new computer, transferring all the files, and
struggle is hard.
Yep. Struggle is real.
Struggle is real.
We are going to our first ever book con coming up in April.
Yeah.
So we're going to be vlogging some of that. And
ooh, what kind of books?
It's romance.
It's like a romantic-y book con.
Oh my gosh. I think my bestie will be there. She does all the romance books. Is it like it's on the East Coast, like Easty Coast somewhere?
Up in Ann Arbor.
Yeah. So it would be towards the East Coast.
She goes somewhere and brings a whole extra suitcase and comes back with books because she's on all these lists for everything.
So that's what it is, yeah.
Yeah, kudos to you guys for all the I'm like, here's my little weird books, and then that's it.
I books.
I mean,
I literally just brought home like 10 books because the library I work at has a mini like book sale, and I was like, oh, books.
Ooh, I hope my library doesn't tell me that, or I'm in trouble. I love it. I love it. Well, very cool. So everybody that's watching or has watched, I want to thank you so much for coming in, joining the comments. We had international today, which was crazy. We had somebody from Australia joining us, which was very cool. And I have, Kimmy, when did you post this? 8:26 just now. Perfect. As a fellow Wisconsinite, I have never heard of the hodag. What? What?
Kimmy, what are you doing?
You need to look up the hodag. Cool looking creature. It's like a spiny dinosaur puppy with horns. It's crazy.
Okay, it's that one. Okay, I was like, I've heard the name, and I'm like trying to picture it in my brain. Like,
yeah, I think he's somewhere behind me, but I can't quite tell where he is. I don't know where he is. He's back here somewhere. Yes, absolutely. Check out the hodag. There's lots of awesome cryptids out there. Anybody who wants to see their videos and follow them on their social media, Those Dweebs, all their information is in the comments below, as what I like to do now. So this video will be up for the rest of the day for people to go back, but it will be added into our permanent archives. So it will be available for watching on creepyconfidential.com under our live streams, or you can go directly to YouTube and watch them as our whole videos there and not have to worry about the live stream content. Thank you so much for joining us here on Creepy Confidential After Dark.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome, guys. All right. We'll see you guys next time right here on Creepy Confidential After Dark.
Bye.